Hello stranger and welcome to my channel. Today we're looking at something interesting. This is a Logitech Craft Keyboard, a premium keyboard by a well-known brand. We'll look at its pros and cons, and by the end of this video we'll decide if it's worth its price tag, which is $200. And for my Canadian folks, this is how much it is in Canadian money. If this is the first time we meet, my name is Roman and I am a sole host, director, producer, operator of this channel. Purpose of my videos is very simple. I try to judge products by its functionality versus cost, as I believe you don't always need the top-of-the-line products to complete your task. So let's save some money and save even more money with Rakuten CashBack services. Get additional $30 off on your next purchase of anything by simply using my promo link in the description below.
Quick ad time before we jump into reviews. Whatever unit you decide to buy, make sure to use the cashback services. These are free and provide you with a nearly instant rebate from most of the retailers. This is how I saved $2,000 in the past 2 years, and counting by using Rakuten. Available in US and Canada, and in many other places. If you never use the service, I have the referral link in the description. Please use it as it will give you a nice sign-up bonus. Practically free money. Make sure to check out that link.
I've been using this keyboard for the past 6 months, and I purchased it as a creator to take advantage of this dial. Without this dial, this keyboard is pretty much standard MX keys. So once we look at the functionality of this dial, you will be able to decide if you should just go for MX keys by Logitech, or maybe you really need this craft keyboard. But first, let's look at what's inside the box. Luckily, I saved some videos from the unboxing. Very first, of course, is the creative input dial that can be programmed to custom functionality and even macros with specific programs. Even here on the back, Logitech gives you some ideas of how you can use the dial. Either it's one of the Adobe, Design or Premium Pro programs, or even Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, you name it. Premium typing. This is something we will discuss shortly as well, because I found a slight flaw with it that may bug people with long nails. One of the cool features is smart illumination. I have no idea how it does it, but it knows exactly when you touch the keyboard anywhere, like literally. And inside the box, apart from the keyboard, you'll also get a USB-C wire, Bluetooth dongle, which is not even required to use this keyboard with multiple devices, and some manual materials. That's it. There are plenty of videos on YouTube saying how great this keyboard is, so I'll not go too much into that. All I can say is typing is awesome. This is what typing experience is like on Craft Keyboard. This is very much like a keyboard on a laptop. Keys are very responsive, and I haven't had a single issue with connectivity, as some people complain about this keyboard. I use it across 3 devices and none of them had this issue. The next important part is battery life, and it takes precisely 7 days of use, and I use it daily from 9 AM till about 9 PM in the evening, and it lasts me 7 days. I've seen online comments, people complaining that after 2 years it may last you a couple of days only. Well, I've been using it only for 6 months and so far it's good. But in 2 years it's expectable that the battery will degrade. Same as on your cell phone, something we cannot avoid. You come to my channel, you watch my videos, but I can't even remember the last time you clicked that like and the subscribe buttons. Even though I post the videos at least once a month for you. Don't you think this is the time to change it and finally click those 2 buttons? Are you done yet? Alright, then now we can continue. But remember, I'll be expecting the likes every time you watch the video. Let's jump straight into dial functionality and discuss it in details, because that's why you're here, right? It has a very limited range of motion, so you can turn it left or right, press it, or press and hold and turn left and right. That's it. What I would like to see to add a bit more functionality to it is probably have an option to move it up and down, left and right, like a joystick. In that scenario, I would be able to put even more practical use into it. Next, let's look at the crown's settings and options. So this is what Logitech Options app looks like. And this app is used to configure your keyboard. There's a section for keyboard, crown, and the easy switch. This is a Bluetooth switch between your devices, 1, 2, and 3. But let's concentrate on the crown for now. So as I mentioned earlier, this is emotions, press and turn, turn and press. What you can do, you can actually customize this button. First of all, default setting on the dial, every time you turn it, it's a volume, even though you already have volume buttons right here. Press is usually set up at play and pause, and the secondary function of press and turn is also set up on volume adjustment. We can easily change that. It could be brightness, media controls, desktop switch, or anything like that. So that's if we use it for all applications. It's pretty limited, but can be made use of. Once we go into applications window, then you can add applications here. In my case, I use Wondershare Filmora 11 for video editing, and I'll show you a few examples how I utilize the dial. So my standard function is set on scrolling left or right, and then pressing once cuts my timeline. Well, you can obviously set up all the standard buttons of your choice, volume, brightness, media control, or you can go with a custom key. That's what I did. And I activated right and left turn. So this is done for scrolling purposes. Now, if I turn it, you can see I can easily navigate through timeline. What's annoying though, if you have many tracks or different timelines, whatever you call it, every time you touch the dial, this little window appears. And there's nothing to do about it. Sometimes it blocks the entire section, especially if you're editing something in the middle. And let's say, let me add a few tracks. In a scenario like this, you want to edit something and you want to navigate to a specific position on your track. By touching it, it kind of blocks it off for you, makes it unusable, so you always have to scroll it up or down. Not a big deal, but an extra move. Back to the app. Keystroke assignment. This is something you can do. You can customize keystroke setup, a combination of keys pressed together. Very handy for specific applications. Let's see what else we can set up. So you can call a calculator, even though again, you already have a button right there. You can close desktop, you can close Windows, copy, cut, paste, all that, devices, and a lot more. So there's a lot of functions that many of us can potentially use. And this is pretty much all you can do with this dial. Even the secondary function of press hold, it would not allow you to set it up to anything custom. By default, it's set to be a volume knob, which is really impractical. Additionally, a dial has a sub-function of ratchet. So what it does, it lets you set up your dial with a very handy function, especially for precision application. Without it, your dial moves left and right unstoppable. So it's pretty hard to use it on a timeline editing. Once we switch ratchet on, you'll have a ratchet every time you turn it. This adds you precision. Have a listen. Now it's not activated. And now there it goes. With ratchet, it's a lot easier to navigate to a specific piece of timelines that you want to cut. Maybe let's say here, and delete it. What's annoying about this ratchet is once in a while you end up accidentally touching your dial, and this is what you hear. This is ratchet being released, and you hear that sound. Nothing to worry about. This is how it works and this is how it's designed. But it may freak you out, especially in the first week. I'm not sure as well what's gonna happen if I need to turn up or turn down volume very quickly. Will I break it? I don't know. Apart from these three functions, there's nothing else you can do with this dial. But if you noticed, I pressed F2 to delete a piece of my timeline. And this is where we'll look at keyboard settings. By default, you already have a very good selection of customized keys up top here that provide you with plenty of functionality straight out of the box. However, you can customize them to be anything you like, specific to any application or specific to a particular application of your choice. And that's where it becomes handy, because now I can easily use my dial settings to track my timeline, and I can use my preset F1 and F2 buttons instead of using a spacebar or delete button on my keyboard, because this is what I set them to be. So F1 is my space now, and F2 is my delete. However, taking into account that this keyboard is practically MX Keys keyboard with this additional bulge at the top, you have a choice of saving yourself $100 by not going with the dial. But again, this is for you to decide. Now the quality issue. this is what I was talking about, right? If you have nails, this is what's gonna happen to your keyboard. And honestly, this is the first time I encounter something like this, because none of my laptops have ever had this issue. Depending on how you press buttons, for me, you see, like I press it like this, with side of my finger, and it's still enough to scratch off the top layer surface. And in 6 months, this button was completely destroyed. Basically, whatever paint Logitech used on this keyboard was not rigid enough against the nail. It still functions, but visually it's an eyesore. So if you have longer nails and you like typing on the keyboard with your nails on top, like my friend does over here, then maybe this keyboard is not for you. Not this one, or not even MX keys. Because otherwise, this is what you're gonna deal with. Very easy to scratch off. Horrible. I have recently reached out to Logitech's customer service. And even though a lot of people on Amazon saying customer service is hard to reach, it was pretty easy, even though I had to wait for about a couple of hours in a chat waiting room. I managed to reach them and they offered a full replacement. However, they had none in stock and they had no idea when they were gonna get replacement. So they offered me a $220 worth of store credit and told me I can spend it on anything I like, which was useless for me because I was looking specifically for craft keyboard replacement. So I ended up getting on a waiting list and it's been over a month now. I haven't heard back. Now, if you ever end up calling customer service about this keyboard, they'll ask you for a serial number, obviously. And in case if you didn't have your box handy, it would be hard for you to find it because it's nowhere to be located at the back. So at the back, there is no serial number because it's hidden on the battery section right here. Apart from its functionality, the keyboard itself is very sturdy. There is absolutely no flex in it, even though it's aluminum. It's very well built, and I think it will last you for quite some time, if you can keep your nails away from your keys. I've seen as well some people complained about height adjustment. Well, practically there is none. And this battery bulge, I assume there's battery inside. So this battery bulge is serving you as a height adjustment bit. But once you have your keyboard on the table, ergonomically, it's very easy and pleasant to type on it. There's really no need for it to go any higher than it is already. In the meantime, please do consider clicking the like and subscribe buttons. These two buttons help channel a lot. And if you feel generous and want to buy me a coffee, you can do so by clicking the super thanks button right under the video. So let's sum it up. I think it's a good keyboard, not great, it has cons, but it's good. However, this dial over here, even on my end, as a video editor, I didn't find a practical use for it, as there are only 2 additional commands you can program into it. Yet I still found very handy the top row of keys, since I was able to program most of my editing shortcuts and it did save me some time. While for the rest of it, I was using my computer mouse. So now let's discuss the price point. $200 is a hefty price for a standard MX keys Logitech keyboard. So paying $100 extra for a dial that provides you functionality of 2 additional commands may not be a good financial decision. Instead, if you do need that additional functionality for video editing or photo editing, maybe invest that $100 into a professional equipment that is made specifically for that purpose. Otherwise, you may end up like many other users that left their comments on Amazon, using this dial for volume control, while having these 2 additional volume control buttons on the side. Since you watched till the end of the video, please do consider clicking the like and subscribe buttons. These 2 buttons help channel a lot. And in the comment section below, please let me know if you already own one of these keyboards and what are your impressions, especially if you are video editing. If you don't own one yet, what keyboards are you looking at and what functionality is important for your task? I would be glad to look at those keyboards as well. On this note, I'll see you in my next video. And if you're looking for a great gaming or office chair, make sure to check out Cybard. I'll have a link in the description below.